Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, college football fans across the nation and around the world. This is Tim May with the Tim May Show, featuring Clay Hall. Clay, I just try to add a little something in there, a little different from the previous time. I say all those things. They probably all sound goofy.
But when you do this,
yeah,
it's time to go.
Go on and on and on and on. Yeah, we got a pretty good show here. It's Rutgers. Yeah. The day before, as we record this, the day before Ohio State hosts Rutgers. Ohio State's final home game of the regular season. Last year, of course, they played another home game after their final home game of the regular season against Michigan. They basically got their train back on the track and annihilated Tennessee, the Chattanooga Choo-Choo, Tennessee. But the bottom line is it looks like there would have to be total collapse catastrophe for Ohio State not to have a bye in the first round of the college football playoffs. With that said, they're hosting prohibitive underdog Rutgers on Saturday, and Greg Schiano, former defensive coordinator at Ohio State, way back when the year before Ryan Day took over. Ryan Day took over in 2019 and brought in Jeff Hafley. Greg Schiano hit the free agent market and ended up being back at Rutgers.
That's where
he first made his claim to fame, right? But he's bringing Rutgers in. Rutgers is not very good on offense, even though they got some players with good stats, and they're not very good on defense.
No, not good at all.
I'm not sure they have anybody with good stats on defense.
There's two great mysteries this weekend. Does Greg Schiano want to spar with Ryan Day again?
Yeah.
And what the hell is Lane Kiffin going to do? Anyway.
Really, those are the two big questions this week. Mine is USC going to knock off Oregon and the Big Ten get at least 4 teams into the college football playoff? But, you know, we all have our ballywicks, and I know how much you being from the Egg Bowl way of doing things, how much you would love to see Lane Kiffin not be on the sidelines next weekend. Oh, actually, it's not next weekend, is it?
Yeah.
Friday?
No, it's Friday.
Friday, yeah, on Friday.
Yeah. Week from today.
That he would finally declare himself, and Ole Miss say, get the hell out of here if you're going somewhere else. And now the conjecture is he could end up at LSU. We'll see how that goes, man.
It does appear, that Florida might be out of the running. We'll see.
Here's what I would hate to be. I would hate to be Lane Kiffin right now in the boat he's in, because that boat has a lot of leaks.
Oh, wow.
Oh, Reed?
Yeah, Tim, I don't care what Lane Kiffin does.
No, as long as he leaves Ole Miss, right?
Once Lebby gets the train rolling. No,
yeah.
Let's talk Buckeye football. Let's worry about. You got to get to 11-0, and you got to take that 11-0 north. So,
yep.
Rutgers 5. They're streaky. They won 3 against nobody. They lost 4, and now they've gone win, loss, win, loss, win. You know.
Yeah.
So. Anyway,
but
I just want to say,
I'll say this out loud. They're a little bit of a dangerous team because they have.
I think
any team that has nothing to lose is a dangerous team, in my opinion. They've got some guys that have produced a little bit on offense, like I said. Akmanis. I always get that wrong. I almost said a real bad word there. I'm glad I stopped myself.
Athan. That's an interesting first name.
Yeah.
Athan Kaliakmanis.
Yeah, and they got a couple of receivers that are dangerous. They got a running back,
Antoine Raymond.
Yeah. So I mean they've got, if they can get things going. Ohio State counters with basically the best defense in the country. So we'll see how that fares on Saturday. And then of course Ohio State has the intrigue. By the way, we're gonna I meant to open with this that we have a special guest on. We're going to play an interview I did with Jim Tressel.
We do indeed.
Basically a bell ringer of note, as I like to say,
and a football guy.
Yeah, as I told you to tweet last night. Make sure you put on there. He's don't identify him, but he's a name that will ring a bell with some people. But he gets to ring the bell this week. The final home game of the year. That new tradition. I think it is a new tradition now because I think it's going to carry on. And I talked to him about that and about starting traditions, so to speak. So that'll be interesting as we delve into this. But back to what you were saying, of course, the biggest question on everybody's mind right now is, will Jeremiah Smith play? If he does, how much will he play? Will Carnell Tate play? And why would he play if he didn't play last week? Why would you play him this week?
I agree. I don't think he didn't suit up last week. I don't see him suiting up this week.
Yeah. And
there is some mystery there.
Yeah, I think as I keep saying, the more time you put in between when something happened and when you press the gas again on a full go basis, as I like to use a lot of race car analogies, especially this week with Formula One being in Las Vegas.
That's right.
But that race is running late night, Saturday night. It still doesn't make sense to me.
Would you call it prime time or is it later?
No, it's later than that.
Oh,
and
okay.
Like qualifying, is tonight as we record this, late tonight, because they're claiming they want to have it where you can watch it live, like in Asia or. And I'm just going, but it's where it's being staged. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning,
right?
And in Eastern time, like 10 Las Vegas time, but. That doesn't, well, why don't you run COTA then, the Circuit of the Americas? Why don't you run that at night then? I mean, you know what I mean? None of that makes any sense to me, the U.S. Grand Prix and now the Las Vegas Grand Prix. But it is what it is. But back to what we're talking about, you want to – when you get on a football playing field, it is a lot like a race car going out, not to run a few slow test laps, but to put the pedal to the metal and compete and put it on the edge, and – so that's what you have to do once you get on the playing field. And we saw Jeremiah Smith on limited snaps last week. I think he was in on like 22 plays.
He looked fantastic pregame.
He got bummed out when they took him out.
Yeah, he made that one-hander.
But he knew that was going to be the case going into the game. He was going to be on a play count. People say pitch count. He only had 4 pitches thrown his way, maybe 5, and he caught 4 of them. But the bottom line is, so – I would think he would definitely be on another pitch count because why not? But anyway, let's just get to
let him play a quarter.
So this game has some intrigue to it.
It does,
as opposed to ho hum.
Right.
They're playing Rutgers. They want to be as healthy as possible going into next week because that will be a test. I know Michigan plays at Maryland.
It's a massive test.
Yeah,
it really is.
Yeah, but this week I'm talking about Michigan plays at Maryland, and but of course the biggest game in the Big Ten, in my opinion, is USC Oregon, because if Oregon just could see its way to be a sacrificial lamb and let USC win out, USC finishes with UCLA I think next week.
Right.
But if
you mean give them a win,
that way the Big Ten has a good chance of getting 4 teams in, and of course we all know that if Michigan wins this week and wins next week, I mean, all the numbers, you got to mash all the numbers together on who would end up in Indianapolis. For example, who would win the tiebreaker, write them down the line. But if Michigan were to at least win these next 2 games, great chance it would be a team in the college football playoff.
For sure.
Then the juggle would be if USC did the same thing. If they only took 4 from the Big Ten, they probably would take USC because USC beat Michigan rather soundly in a head-to-head. But, you never know what the committee's going to do, right? They got Notre Dame ahead of Miami, and they both have 2 losses. And Miami beat Notre Dame, brother.
The committee.
Season opener.
That's right.
And now, down in the SEC, everybody in the SEC lands wanting you to basically forget.
They think they can get 5.
They want you to forget that Texas got beat by Ohio State because it was the opener. Clay, and that shouldn't matter. And yet, if they had won that game, imagine how much of this would be going on.
Constant. Yeah.
And it was the opener, and Arch Manning Arch Manning was making his debut as the full-time starter. He'd already started a couple of games last year for him, but they forget Julian Sayin was making his bona fide season opener. But now, we didn't know the Ohio State defense was going to be that good and clever and tricky and stuff. And that wasn't fair.
He was mauled. He was out of sorts.
Yeah, but that game shouldn't count. The game should not count.
Shouldn't count. Okay.
On our resume, we should still be a 3-loss team in college football playoff. And if we get beat by Texas A&M, we should be a 4-loss team in the college football playoff.
And still get in.
Oh. I'm sure that's what they will cry. Emphasis on the word cry. I mean, golly, man, I am so, it just makes you nauseous. Some of the, and I grew up an Alabama fan. I wouldn't call myself an Alabama fan anymore, but my point is, get over yourself down there. You're listening to Greg Sankey way too much. I mean, there is, and I thought Texas would be this way, but it's not. There is not a great defense in the Southeastern Conference this year. I
would agree.
There wasn't last year, as a matter of fact. And so we'll see what ends up being the case as this goes along. But I'm so over the Southeastern Conference. It's kind of nuts. I mean, as I like to say, okay, we have no idea what's coming, but the Big Ten has won the last 2 national championships.
There you go.
That goes from an anomaly to a trend, or at least a streak, right?
If we get to 3.
Yeah. And speaking of that, man, speaking of a guy who won a national championship, his name was Jim Tressel. Took over in 2001 for Ohio State. Ohio State had lost 10 of its previous 13 games to Michigan. Had lost the two most previous games to Michigan. And let's face it, Ohio State didn't come out a house of fire. Jim Tressel's first year, they went 7-5 or wherever it was, but they did get business done. As he said, you'll be proud of our young men in the classroom, and especially on November, whatever the date was. I know it was
313 days. Ann Arbor. As soon as he got Ann Arbor out of his mouth, the shot went.
The shot, Steen. It was a shot.
What were you thinking?
It was the phrase heard all around the shot. Go ahead.
Yeah. What did you foresee? What did you foresee happening? Ohio State, Miami, and Tempe that night.
I picked Ohio State. Ohio State was a 13-point underdog.
Right.
But I kept emphasizing, everybody, I always pick Ohio State. Well, you know what? Doing that's a pretty, it'd be like picking stocks. If you could pick stocks like picking Ohio State to win,
I think you'd be about 88%.
Right. But the thing is, Ohio State had 2 things going for them. They had an underrated offense because they hardly played offense, that year.
Krenzel handed it off.
To Maurice Claret. And Maurice Claret had been banged up, but he seemed about as healthy as he'd been since the week before, or since he had arthroscopic surgery, the week of the Cincinnati game when he almost got beat. That was one of the several games he almost got beat in. Yeah. But what I liked was Ohio State's defense. Matt Wilhelm, and I've talked about that a million times. We'll talk about it 1,000,001 coming up Monday on our podcast, one of our 3 podcasts leading up to the game 2025. But they had look at that defense, man.
Will Smith.
Yeah. The original Will Smith. Yeah. Darian Scott. I mean, up front. And then, the linebackers. And then Matt Wilhelm. And, A.J. Hawk was playing a little bit as a freshman, if I remember correctly. But Robert Reynolds was playing great at linebacker. And of course, Will Allen at safety and Chris Gamble.
Dustin Fox.
Fox. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, right on down the line, yada, yada, yada. That was a really good defense with guys who went on to play, some of them extensively, in the National Football League.
They had Eddie George ready to go.
It was underrated. Yeah.
And
wait a minute, they had what?
Oh, he's just on the sideline with Herb Street and a number of.
Oh, you mean the guys cheering?
Former players.
The guys cheering.
That is correct.
Yeah, exactly. But I didn't know what that meant. That game should have, if there had been replay, that game would have ended before overtime, because Ohio State would have gotten credit for a first down on a pass that was ruled incomplete and would have run out the clock. But it was what it was. And they ended up punting, and Miami getting a great run back, and then a guy kicking, that Seaver guy, wherever his name, Severs, kicking the longest field goal of his career. I think it was 39 yards. And as Matt Wilhelm said, I only got this finger on it. If I'd gotten these 2 fingers on
Is that right?
Yeah, he got a finger on the kick.
Oh my!
He just didn't get 2 fingers on it. It would have been blocked and game over.
Yeah.
All kinds of moot points as we speak now. But anyway, bottom line is, we'll see what this team has going for it. You'll hear again Ryan Day using the phrase they're chasing history. He's not ashamed. He's not afraid to say that.
Exactly.
He's challenged his team with that. And it's pretty cool,
man.
But first, let's get to what Jim Tressel is going to get to ring the bell. Finally, the football aspect of ringing the bell is going to tip back over. It's going to tip over to the football side. You had right out of the, right out, you had two former coaches who were in the College Football Hall of Fame. You had John Cooper and Urban Meyer both ring the bell, and now you're going to have Jim Tressel ring the bell. He's in the football Hall of. Who's the other football related guy that rang the bell? Arch Griffin, bingo. The only two-time Heisman winner, did it.
Yeah,
did it in the opener. Yeah. But then it's tilted basketball-wise with Michael Redd and Clark Kellogg, and then of course Jake Diebler last week when they were recognizing Jerry Lucas. By the way, the Jerry Lucas, wow, that was cool to see him, to hear him, etc. Yeah. But I want to tell you something, man. The statue right outside the shot, there on the northwest, in the northwest entryway of the shot, leaves a little bit to be desired. I almost did this. I almost got up on the base of it the other day because I think I'm taller than Jerry Lucas in that statue. I'm going.
I was going to say I think it's quite tall, but
it's on a base that's this tall, and then but I'm telling you, I'm as tall as Jerry Lucas is. The statue aspect of it. I'm only 6'6". No, I'm 6'2". Jerry Lucas, man, he was the man. He still may be I don't know. You could argue with the results and stuff, maybe the greatest basketball player in history at Ohio State in terms of effectiveness, results, and right on down the line. But it was great to see him get honored last week. Let's put it that way. So I'll leave it at that.
Does Jim Jackson?
The statue almost looks like the model for the statue they meant to throw out there. I don't know how to explain it, but it's cool.
He wants it sent back.
The way it's built, the way the ball is balancing on one finger as he's throwing a little half hook up there is pretty sweet. It's just you thought it would have been bigger, and I'm not sure they had training table back then.
Because it is quite.
He looks a little lean.
Yes.
And anyway, it is what it is. If you get a chance to drop by there, you'll see what I'm saying. But it's still cool to have any kind of statue.
I agree.
And we'll talk about why I keep harping on that. We'll talk about that after we get back from this conversation I had with Jim Tressel. Oh my goodness! Look who slipped into the Tim May show again. I think it's because it's the Tim May show featuring Clay Hall. But anything it takes to get a big time celebrity on the Tim May show featuring Clay Hall, I'll do it. Coach Jim Tressel, Lieutenant Governor Jim Tressel, welcome back to the Tim May show.
Well, thanks so much. You did trick me. You told me Clay Hall would be here with me. So, but I guess we'll be okay. We can roll without him, but tell Clay I missed him.
Oh, absolutely. He's listening to this as we speak. But I wanted to ask you this, Coach, when they called you to ring the bell, which used to be the victory bell, now it's the come hither bell, and then it's the victory bell. But were you honored? Well, how would you describe your feelings being asked to ring the bell for the final home game of the 2025 season?
Well, absolutely honored. And, you love new traditions. And this, I think this is the first year we've had that new tradition. And so I've been at a couple of the games, and I've seen the response to the right before the team comes down, the response to that bell ringing. Yeah. And, so when Ross asked if I would take this game, I was more than honored. And me, I love November. November football is what we live for. And you got to be continually improving in November. And so I can't wait to be there Saturday.
The games they remember are the ones in November. And then, of course, there's one in December and some in January now.
Right. That's right.
Hey, Coach Tressel, when you started the Singing Carmen, Ohio in front of the band, and that has continued, through, the 1 year with Luke Fickell, Urban Meyer, and now Ryan Day. I mean, how did you, that was a tradition that had not been going on, but now it's like it's expected. I mean, what do you think about bringing something on new and seeing it catch on like that?
Only the good things become traditions.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a good thing that our guys get a chance to hear how proud the crowd was singing their alma mater, and that why should we be in the locker room, and not enjoying that opportunity? And I just thought it was a good thing and the right thing to do. At first, my players were kind of skeptical because they didn't know, because I told them win or lose, it's our alma mater. And so there's going to be maybe a day you stand in front of that, that band, and the thing you'd like to do is get in the locker room and get this behind you. But no, I think it's been a great thing. And same thing with, when we decided we were going to walk through the skull session.
Yep.
Everyone talks about the skull session. Well, then my guys deserve to see the skull session. And again, they were skeptical on that one. But after they did it once, they realized, man, this is a pretty cool thing. And so that's the way great traditions begin, is you take a shot at it and you see how people feel.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you pointed out, when you were the head coach at Ohio State, I mean, there were so many things that were special about game day, or special about the place, but especially game day. And like you just pointed out, you wanted your players at least to see part of that, right? I mean, that's because otherwise you leave there having played football and not really knowing what's going on around you.
And not only see it, but feel it.
Yeah.
Know what all your alumni friends and all your student buddies are talking about how they felt singing their alma mater or being at the skull session, or all the rest. And so oh, absolutely, you want your guys to feel every good thing.
Chris Tressel, I'm going to jump immediately to next week, even though that's coming up next week. Ohio State's got to take care of Rutgers. But is there such a thing of doing something to get ready for that game, the game, that I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's hocus pocus. I think you try a lot of things when things aren't going well. You know what I mean? In that game, you went to 9-1 in the game and stuff. But what do you think made the difference? I mean, obviously there was your speech the night that you got named the new head coach at Ohio State, that you said the people would be proud of your players in the classroom, but also on that date in November of 2001. But I don't know what would you, I guess, what would be your recommendation to Ryan Day about how to handle the situation?
Ryan and I have talked about that a lot over the years, especially as playoffs became a part. And we always talked about the fact that you want to be playing your best football in November.
Yeah.
And it just so happens that the game, your rivalry game, we're fortunate it's the last game regular season wise, and you want to be playing your best. That's your goal from the beginning of weight lifting in the winter to spring practice to summer training to preseason camp to, your goal is to keep getting better.
Yeah.
And that's one of the big reasons why you want to play your best on that game, but also because that game means a lot to a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's one where people my age, which, maybe there's not that many people still left at my age, but when we were growing up, that was the only game we could see.
Yeah, true.
That was the only one that was on TV.
True.
And so that's the one we remembered. That's the one we couldn't wait to sit down with our family and watch that game. And so that game, and I guess obviously too, proximity of the two states, the fact that those two programs over the course of football history in the last 50 years really quite often has determined, are you going to be the Big Ten champions? And so there's a lot of reasons why, it's important, but times change.
Yep.
And not only is that still dramatically important and will have a lot to do with anything that might happen after that game, but you've got to be on a trajectory, if you're fortunate enough to be in the playoffs, that you're playing better.
Yeah.
You've just played better. And then the other thing that I think is very, very true, that's new with the playoffs, we didn't necessarily have when we were just going to play one game for a national championship or one game for a big bowl opportunity. You got to be healthy coming out of that regular season. And one of the things, for as much adversity as we had this past year coming off of a tough loss in the rivalry game, the one thing we were going into the playoffs is we were healthy. We were probably healthier than we'd been. We were banged up in the middle of the season, and maybe we had lost a guy or two for the year, but at least now the guys had played a little bit under pressure. And so when we hit the playoffs last year, we were pretty darn healthy. And throughout the playoffs,
Yep.
we stayed pretty healthy. And so November football, postseason football, so important, so exciting, best time of year. And, it's, and I think too, playing this game when you're on the road is even a huge challenge that's fun to be a part of because, give Michigan credit. They got 108,000 people too, that are excited and people want to defend their homeland and all that business. So, I think our guys will be excited and if they'll keep thinking about getting better, which I know that's what they've been talking about all year. Everyone wants to talk about their schedule or this or that. They're just concerned about themselves. Are we getting better? And the one thing, I haven't had a chance to be at practice as much this year as I was a year ago because I got this job that keeps me a little bit busy. But you can tell the few times I've been at practice that this is a group intent on getting better and growing together. And whoever does the best job of building culture throughout the season and hitting the late November and on into the playoffs with the tightest outfit, has a chance.
Yeah, absolutely. Does it take away, just a few more with you, does it take away from the game that you can win or lose the game and still win a national championship like Ohio State did last year? Does it diminish the game's importance in your mind? I know kind of what you have to say, but I mean, it is like you said a minute ago, it's a new era. It's a new world now that necessarily one loss doesn't ruin your year.
No, but I think this, it's true that this game, if you come up short, you can still get your ultimate goal, but you still live with the fact that you didn't win that game.
Yeah.
So when you're 35 years old, you say, yeah, I got the national championship, but here's what would have made it perfect if we'd have got the national championship and won our rival game. So no one will ever be satisfied totally without doing all of the above, right? You want to be the Big Ten champions, you want to beat your rival, and you want to win the national championship. That's the only way to be totally satisfied. Now, at the end of the day, when you're 35, I hope the world has more important things in your life that you're not going to live or die on whether or not you won a game or won a championship or not. You find out that there's bigger things in life than that. But memories and the feeling, those you get to keep forever. And the best one to keep is winning the Big Ten and beating the rival and being the national champions.
Yeah, the triumvirate.
Right.
Last thing. I don't think many times I've had you on here, I don't think I've ever asked you this. What is your impression of Ryan Day? I've watched Ryan Day grow into being a head coach, over the last 7 years and stuff. I've been privileged to watch that and stuff. And I was on my podcast a couple of weeks ago and on some national or radio shows and stuff. I've talked about he's almost a prototypical new wave, new age head coach with all the stuff you got to deal with, the transfer portal, the NIL, right on down the line. I mean, still recruiting, et cetera, and still being basically ahead of the curve. A lot of things for like offensively, defensively. Basically, they changed up. They're not even the same looking kind of football team they were even a year ago. I think you follow my drift there and stuff. But what is just your take on him and the way he has grown, but also what he has become in terms of being a head coach?
Well, you've heard me say more than once, I'm a Ryan Day fan.
Yeah.
I've said that for years, that hasn't wavered. If I had to put it into maybe just a couple things, I would say the one thing about Ryan that I've appreciated is he's a humble guy that is there because he's an educator and cares about the kids.
Yeah.
Not that he's not competitive and wants to win. He wants to win more than anything, but he's got humility. And I think the other thing that he has is he's got an endless curiosity for how to get better. Yeah. Whether it's hand placement and blocking. I've been sitting in his office at times and he's all fired up about, we're doing this little different thing on our hand placement, or on defense, we're doing this little different thing on our disguise or our footwork, or hey, on our strength training, we're doing this little different thing, or hey, on making sure we're getting the right number of practice reps so that we're fresher later in the year. We're trying. So I think he's a humble guy that knows he's an educator, but also he's very curious as to how to get better at every single thing. And he's just methodical about that. And therefore, he's kind of focused in on that kind of thing. And he's not focused in on being a Barnum and Bailey and a self-promoter and all this kind of thing. He is focused on how to figure out, how do I get better at everything we do?
Yeah. Hey, one quick bonus question, because you know me, I could ask you 10 more, but one quick bonus.
Right.
Julian Sayin, you've gotten to watch him play a young quarterback. In the old days, he'd be Rex Kern. He'd be a sophomore. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's young, but he's not that young and stuff. But I'm telling you, man, Coach, I've watched a lot of quarterbacks at Ohio State throw the football. And this, if I was getting a player to star in my Hollywood movie about just throwing the football, this might be the guy. Troy and him would be in a battle. Let me put it that way. But just what's your take on him and his poise and the way he's played thus far this year?
Well, the thing that's impressive to me is he always seems like he's in control.
Yeah.
But his quickness to let it go.
Yeah.
He can really, the proverbial man, he can really spin it, or he can really flick it, or I don't care, which cliche you want to use.
Yeah.
Now, he's got great receivers, he's got a great offensive line, he's got a great this and that. His final measurement will be if there is a moment, in the rival game or in the first round of the playoffs or the second round or the third round or the fourth round, where he's got to put on the Superman cape, and dive over the top, or step up like Craig Krenzel and break 17 tackles on the way to a 3rd and 17 first down, that type of thing. Hasn't had to do it yet. I'm not saying he can't, not saying he won't, but just from a pure quarterback playing the position talent-wise and so forth, he looks to me to be extraordinary. Now we're going to see if he can be that guy that does that special thing when the special thing is needed.
Absolutely. It may come sooner rather than later. Ladies and gentlemen, Coach Jim Tressel, Lieutenant Governor Jim Tressel, I still regret the fact of getting the news that you weren't going to run for true governor. I'd like to have seen you in charge. That would have been a story, going from a head coach to a president of a university to lieutenant governor to governor. But hey, it means you'll have more time to come on the Tim May show.
That's right. And you know what, Tim, you did a good job substituting for Clay. I think you're getting better at this. You're doing a good job.
Thank you very much. Now, if we're going to just get that TV voice, that'd be good, wouldn't it?
There you go.
Hey, Coach Tressel, thank you very much.
All right, my friend. Have a good one. We'll see you.
Yeah. Well done. Pound me.
Oh, yeah. But that's just because he mentioned you at the end. Otherwise, you'd be going ho-hum. Bottom line is,
very good.
All these coaches, man, I don't ever like to be pushed into a corner. Who's my favorite coach? Because every coach has his foibles, right? One way or the other. But I truly enjoyed covering Ohio State when Jim Tressel was there, no matter what was going on. And, it's pretty cool when you think about his story. I mean, he was a quarterback coach when I first started covering Ohio State football in 1984. Then he went on, just boom, man. He said, I want to be a head coach. And he ended up going to Youngstown State and being a superstar on that level. Then he gets the Ohio State job. No matter how he got it, he got that job and won a national championship, won 4 national championships, and 1 AA or whatever, be called FCS now, and played for at least 2 more down there. And then at Ohio State, he won 1 national championship in 2002, his second year, and then played for 2 more. Had in 06 and 07. Those games didn't turn out the way everybody would have liked. But then he, we all know how the ignominy of the way his coaching career ended, and he goes into almost immediately goes into university administration, at Akron,
right,
and excels because he's always working his rear end off. He's a detail oriented dude. who can quite politely tell you that something's not good enough or get on with the program. Next thing you know, he's the head coach at the president of Youngstown State, and served extremely well there, especially in the which is all these jobs are now in the fundraising aspect of things.
I was just about to say, can you imagine the money they brought in?
Yeah. And then he goes into retirement again. He's like Tim May, he keeps coming out of retirement, and gets tapped by Mike DeWine to be the interim, I guess is the best way of putting it, lieutenant governor, right?
Yeah.
And then was toying with the idea. More than that, he was seriously considering the idea of running for governor. And I'm not going to get into my political side, except as I told him again last night, I said, I would have voted for you for governor.
Right.
And I said, I don't care who you were running against. And
right.
So if that rankles people, I don't really care, because I don't get into politics here, except that I know how Jim Tressel runs things. And, he would have been a great head coach for the Cleveland Browns.
Right.
But they didn't take the chance, and they've been wandering
Awful.
in the wilderness, because the guy was a tremendous head coach. Agreed.
I know you also loved him because his pressers, the weekly presser, wasn't 26, 28 minutes. It was an hour.
Yeah.
And that would give Tim May 6, 8, 10 questions.
Well, hey, then it wasn't a wait to get called on deal. And maybe one, possibly two questions like you get now.
Right.
But I understand, believe me, Mike Bassford, I think, does a tremendous job. So did Jerry Emig. But Mike Bassford does a tremendous job of running the Ryan Day press conferences, because you're not going to get to call on everybody. I do like, I guess selfishly, I do like the idea that he does call on me, because it's been recognized I'm the most senior guy covering Ohio State football in whatever form or fashion it is. And a couple of us guys, like Doug Maurice, we've been there for a long time. Austin Ward's been there for a long time now. He may not believe how long he's been there, but he's been there for a while. But the point is, you kind of get one or two questions max. And but back then, when it was the mob and you could outshout somebody, I think
he could outshout him.
I think you and I, and Dom would jump in there too,
Sure.
But you and I and Dom Taberry and maybe a couple others. But dude, when I go to an Ohio State head coach's press conference, I remember had a guy that I worked with at the Dispatch one time who basically kept saying that I stole his question, before he got, and I go,
think of another.
What do you mean? Number one, we didn't confab on questions. And, but then number two, you came to a press conference
with one
question.
That's it
in your mind. I mean, as the press conference goes on, another 1,000 pop into your brain. And
your first one will be taken.
Real quick before we move on. Yeah. My best example of Jim Tressel and the way he ran the press conference, though, was there was a big conjecture then of, I think there was I'm not going to name the names, but there was a conjecture early on about why can't you play more than one quarterback? Why can't you play more than one quarterback? Because, and he goes, well, blah, 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 blah. And he goes, we don't play, we only play one fullback.
That's right.
And so, and that was his answer to, you stick with the guys that have earned the playing time they deserve, because reps mean a lot to everybody. And so I'm sitting there, and I'm usually not dumbfounded, but I was dumbfounded because I knew there was a rejoinder to that, but I couldn't come up with it.
Okay.
And, after practice that day, because we used to get to go to practice, or at least talk to Coach Tressel after practice, which was cool.
Okay.
And I walked up to him, and before the little give and take started, I went, Nate Stead. And he goes, what? I go, Nate Stead. Jamar Martin is your starting fullback, but Nate Stead has played fullback some. I think he had just come out of the Northwestern game where he had played some. And you know what Tressel said to me?
No.
He said, see, you got to be quicker.
That's right.
So there was a game going on there, right? And if you were, my big line about Urban Meyer was don't ever ask him a question you don't want to hear his answer to, because he would answer your question.
Sure.
It might not be what you thought was coming, and it would be his version of things, but he would give you an answer. Agreed?
Quick little aside. I remember when they were at, what was the restaurant on the rib joint, whatever. And so he would walk out, and I thought I needed to mend a fence for some reason.
You talking about Tressel or
Tressel?
Yeah, Tressel. Yeah,
and
the highlight.
I just
or wherever it was.
Sure. No, it
wasn't. No. It doesn't matter. Go ahead.
Anyway, and I said something. Are you PO'd? Let's talk about it. And he looked at me and he goes, it was like, I got you, buddy. And he goes, can't the head coach have some fun?
Yeah.
And I was kind of, I was young. I'd just gotten here somewhere in there. I don't know, 2000 or 2001.
Young, dumb, and full of run. Go ahead.
Oh, my gosh. And he was like, can't the head coach have some? I said, you son of a
Oh, yeah. I
was worried about that for 3 weeks.
That's why he would have made a good governor.
Oh,
I'm telling you, because I think it was almost a position created for Jim Tressel.
Yeah.
But hey, enough of that. He's going to ring the bell, and Ohio State's going to play his final home game. And
we're going to talk about it.
We're going to talk about it. We're going to have other people talk about it. But first, here's a little cut from Ryan Day talking about this team, this year's team. And everybody wants to always compare to last year or to 2002 or 2014, all the teams that were pretty damn good and what got them there and stuff. And of course, with Ryan Day, it's last year's team is a great comparison, from the standpoint of,
it's hard to
getting it done.
Separate them. Yeah.
Right. But let's just hear what he had to say about, because, of all the guys who've stepped up this year, 8 new starters on defense, et cetera. And let's just see what, kind of like his comeback was to a question like that.
Guys, but I think the mindset of this team is that they're business-like, they're locked in, they're focused right now on what they want to get done, and that's the most important thing. We know, that we want to be playing our best football down the stretch, and that's it. And I think these guys embrace it, man. They want to bring it every day, and we're chasing history, here at Ohio State, and they know that. So that was the vision early on in the season, and then the challenge is to focus every week on being your best and being the hardest playing team in the country and getting our job done. So, that's what these guys are doing. Different group, different dynamic, and different coaching staff, different chemistry. Just everything about it's different. So, and that's what I said to the guys the other day. Again, we're writing a different story right now, and we're in control of that. And that's what's great about being at Ohio State. You're in control of what's going on, and that's it. That's what we're going to focus on, what we can control, and then the rest of it is just noise, and we have to stay focused this time of season.
Yeah, the thinking being,
I like that. The rest.
The thinking being, you're playing a team this week that you're a 31-point favorite over, and a lot we'll get into that more as these sound bites go, but yeah, I mean, the idea, like Coach Tressel was talking about Ryan Day, the way he's driving this wagon train,
right,
is pretty interesting. But you don't, like I said, at the jump, you don't know what everybody's thinking. You don't know if everybody's thinking the same way you are. But the point is, if you're consistent on the message, then and you've got a couple of lead horses on that wagon train, they can take you places. They can keep you focused on the trail and not wandering off. And
he does,
because all that matters, there's another bridge coming up. You got to cross the bridge, and let's just see what some more things he had to say on Wednesday. The last interview day before.
I mean, every week is a test, and how we master each week in terms of our process is what we're looking for. And it's easy to lose focus on what's going on right now when throughout the season there's different things that can drift you away from what needs to be where all your energy needs to be, and that's it. So that's what we're going to do this week, and that's been a message all along, and it's not going to change next week either. It's from Sunday all the way till we play the game. The foot hits the ball. We got to be focused on our opponent, and that's what it's going to come down to in the end. So, every game we got to take care of the football. Every game we got to tackle well. Every game we got to block. Every game we got to win the X-play battle. Everything that comes with these games. So, but this time of year, certainly it's easy to lose focus, and we can't do that. And I think for the most part we've done that this season, but we have to continue to do that, and that's it. As the noise gets louder, we have to continue to stay focused on our individual jobs, whether it's coaches or players, making sure that we're doing our part as a team to help us reach our goals, and that's it. The rest of it is stuff that we can't control or stuff that doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, I know people don't like to hear that because everybody in Buckeye Nation, it's kind of like Christmas, but we didn't get what we wanted the last 4 Christmases. Christmas is coming, and it's next Saturday. And
but I think that steady week by week, this is what we do. This is our process. We're not diverting from it. I'm going to talk next Tuesday. The players are going to talk on Wednesday like we do every dadgum week. I think that's, I don't know. I think it's a sound philosophy, and hopefully puts them over the finish line.
Well, yeah, and it goes all the way down. It goes all the way down the line there. I mean, like Urban Meyer's big line was about alignment.
Right.
Everybody being aligned, the same message, the same words should be used to describe things. That way it's a consistency that the players hear on a day-to-day basis, because it always comes down to finally the guys out there between the lines doing their job, making plays, feeling free to make their plays, but also in a system that takes care of business. And so, it's interesting. Speaking of a system that's taking care of business, I gave it up to I've on radio and stuff, and even this podcast, I give it up to them sticking with getting the running game going, and it's paying dividends right now. We're seeing it blossom. Now, they're not playing the Purple People Eaters or the 7 blocks of granite from Fordham from way back when, or the fearsome foursome. UCLA defense should not be mistaken for the fearsome foursome of the LA Rams back in the 70s, 60s and 70s,
or the doomsday
defense. The doomsday defense, or the steel curtain. And this week, definitely they're not facing a great run defense. It's the last rated run defense in the Big Ten. But the point is, you get the consistency going, you get the confidence going. Okay, you play some guys who are better on the defensive side, but now you know where to be, when to be, and running backs are starting to see things they maybe weren't seeing 5-7 weeks ago. You got 2 freshmen, Bo Jackson, Isaiah West, coming on like gangbusters. James Peoples finally stepping up. C.J. Donaldson will be among the 16 or 17 players who make their final home game this week, the transfer from West Virginia. It sounds like he's going to play. So you got those 4 running backs coming online. I mean, are online right now, and an offensive line that seems to be, finding itself if they ever get things totally sorted at right guard. But the bottom line is, they could have just abandoned that game. Yeah, we got the 2 best receivers in the country and a bunch of other guys under them. Let's just throw the hell out of the ball. Max Clare, get wide open at tight end. We're playing 3 and 4 tight ends sometimes. Let's just forget about the run game and do it, quote, the easy way, end quote. But they were bound and determined, he and Brian Hartline especially, to get the running game going. And you'll hear what Ryan Day has to say on why that's important.
Ryan, do you give you and your coaching staff credit for sticking with the run game? I mean, sometimes I would think that might be hard to do, but the way it has blossomed, I know you're going to face tougher defenses down the road, perhaps. But what is just your take on how y'all stuck with it and let this thing develop?
Well, it takes work, and there's a lot that goes with it. There's the offensive line and finding the right schemes that fit what they do, and there's the running backs, seeing it and hitting it and feeling it, and the tight ends are involved, the wide receiver. I mean, everybody's involved with it, so it's not just something that you do once in a while. I mean, you gotta major in it, and that's how you control the game. So we're always looking for balance, but the run game is something you got to pound on every day.
Absolutely. When he starts talking about the run game, that's what you get a little insight into Ryan Day. He gets almost guttural with it, and his voice kind of drops a little bit because everybody knows what it means.
Well, when
he has a little bit of an edge there, like, you got to run the football. I mean,
I hope they get in a position next week where they're up, and then they can seal the damn game running the football.
Well, we'll see. Whatever it takes to put that hermetically sealed cap on that big jar of mayonnaise, because you would knock out the M. It would be big hermetically sealed jar of mayonnaise. They'll take, right?
There'll be an X over the
But I mean, if it means throwing the ball 58 times, I guarantee you he'll do that too. I mean, but it is so important to feel some kind of confidence about your run game if you consider yourself to be a big time contender for a national championship or a conference championship. I think they're starting to feel that now. I'm not sure they felt that 4 or 5 weeks ago.
I would, yeah.
I don't know why they would have,
Right.
But except we get these two fresh. Oh my goodness, these two freshmen are now our lead dogs. What are we going to do with that?
Yeah.
Well, what they've done is they've hitched them up, and if Bo Jackson and Isaiah West are the two guys, run with it. But all of a sudden now you got James Peoples hurdling a football player with a single bound and stuff, and becoming the James Peoples we thought he would be right out of the gate. So
you just gotta secure that freaking.
Like I keep telling you, man. Yeah, like I keep telling you though, man. On this team, that what the word I use is bubbling up. There, the phrase I use is, but they got guys bubbling up.
Yeah,
and at the end of the regular season, that's a good thing to have. But anyway,
playing your best at the November.
For so many of these guys, it's going to be their last home game. They're going to get to run out, be introduced, get a bouquet of flowers or roses, I think is what they always give them and stuff, and they'll get to embrace their parents on the field. It's a special time, and like Caden Curry, defensive end, he and Kenyatta Jackson, man, they waited their time.
They did,
and it's paid off for them. And now here's Caden. We'll get into Caden Curry talking about, kind of like what it's been like, or how special it is. He's had some interesting things to say about it. Let's get to Caden Curry here. Have these years flown by? How would you describe them, man?
Definitely, it's been a lot faster than I anticipated. It's been nothing but short but awesome. I loved every second here being a Buckeye, and I wouldn't change anything about it.
And you are running out on Saturday.
Yeah,
and
I'll
getting your
definitely
roses
be there.
And your hugs and all that kind of stuff.
Me and my family will be out there.
How much of a different person are you now compared to 4 years ago? Just in a nutshell, I know that would probably be a book. But.
Yeah, it's definitely a whole book. It's crazy. Definitely with Coach Mick starting. He really turned me into the person I am today, just like leadership, mentality, just everything I would have never thought I would have turned into. Coach Day pushing me every day. Coach Johnson kind of just making sure I take every little detail into account. So, there's really just so many people in here that kind of just change your whole life. You don't even realize it.
Yeah, you didn't even mention Mick and Murata giving you muscles and Coach Johnson giving you technique, right?
I know. Just those little things you don't even realize.
Are you surprised what you picked up over 4 years from now? What was your thought of what you would get out of college and what you've gotten out of it in that regard?
Yeah, when you come to college, I feel like you already have it figured out. You know what's going to happen, how it's going to happen. And then when you actually get the realization of how hard it is here, definitely being at this, top tier place. So much work that's actually be put in, not just kind of just showing up and it'll happen. So, definitely being able to kind of go through that grind factor, I feel like it's changed me and kind of showed me that, good stuff doesn't come easy. And it's definitely just turned me to the player I am today.
What's the toughest lesson you've learned in these 4 years?
Never be late to a workout. That's definitely one. And really just going as hard as you can in every single thing you do. Really not giving up on anything and just taking every rep and accounting for every rep.
I love when he talked about those three principal men. He said they changed my whole life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now you come out on the end of it and you're like, wow.
Yeah. It's an experience. It's not just a football game. And Caden Curry's one of those guys, we're going to, things go right, we're going to have him on our podcast live. We're going to do a little thing with him because he aspires to be in the media. And whether you get a 10-year NFL career or 5 or whatever, almost you always want something to fall back on or something that can carry you from there. And here you and I are, retirement community, with our retirement community podcast. Actually, I enjoy doing this a lot with you, and I don't want to get verklempt. I don't want to go all Tressel on you, but I've enjoyed it just because you and I, we've seen a lot, man, and not just at Ohio State. We've seen a lot of the world in so many ways, and it's just kind of cool to be able to relate to the younger generation because it keeps you young. That's why, you see coaches coaching into their 70s.
Right.
A lot of them, because, man, being around young people keeps you young, at least in your brain and stuff. And I've, in some ways, I've been very immature because I've been doing this for a long time. But it's cool to watch a young man like Caden Curry, who you always liked from the first time he showed up at Ohio State. You always liked being, talking with him and stuff. And mainly because, he just seemed like a wild, like a colt or something that just needed to be broken, but was going to go out there and run as fast as he could and hit people as hard as he could from the get-go, right?
Yeah, no doubt about it. He didn't come here, excuse me, as some sort of bonus baby, but he made himself through the tutelage of those folks he talked about, and it's so cool. I mean, through the first 2-3 weeks, I said, your stats are all American. I mean, you look at what you're putting up against the best players in the country. And he was kind of like, wait a minute. No, we're not talking like that. There's so much more to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's just talk about, the legacy that he embraced at Ohio State, and maybe he's leaving behind. Let's just get a little bit of that.
It's great that we have a national championship, but we're also a team that doesn't have any gold pants. We're also a team that doesn't have a Big Ten championship. So, I feel like we definitely have things that we still need to get done. And I feel like I want to be somebody known as our class, as somebody that's gotten everything that they needed to get done here at Ohio State.
You're a human being. I don't know if you know that or not, but how tough is it to not look forward, but to keep your eye on, like, Rutgers, for example, and knowing what's coming? How tough is that?
Yeah,
from a discipline standpoint?
Definitely just keeping your head out of social media. There's a lot of people that want to kind of guide you and show you different ways and different things that you should know or they want you to know. I definitely just keep my head out of there and just stay close with my family. Honestly, just kind of talking to my parents, talking to my brotherhood here, talking to everybody around me that, I know I can trust, and just keep my circle small right now.
Yeah. Could imagine being the guys on this football team right now, especially the guys who are going to run out on Saturday for senior day recognition, last day recognition, actually last game in the shoe recognition, because some of them are seniors, some of them are, various other things. But the bottom line is everything so far that you wanted to accomplish in your final season at Ohio State is right there, right in front of you.
It's on a
get the job done, and you get it done. And they know it's kind of like climbing the foothills of Everest. Now, all of a sudden, there's still a huge mountain to go up, and in rarefied air.
Well said.
This is the last base camp, so to speak.
Like those chores my dad would give us, and you get through with one, and my brother's like, no, we got to go paint this fence. Each said,
right,
whatever.
Yeah.
So it's, can we get it all done today?
Yeah.
Well, you don't have to do it today, but you're right. It's all there in the next 3 weeks, or 5-6 weeks.
Yeah, but it's pretty cool, man. It's up to you. Make sure those pitons or whatever you put into the ice, and then your
the pitons.
The pitons, and then
and
then you make sure you got your snowshoes on, so to speak, your ice shoes, but crampons aren't what they're called. But anyway, but here we go. Lorenzo Styles Jr. is one of those guys, but boy, did he have a memory from last week. But let's just get into kind of a general conversation, because both Styles brothers are going to run out tomorrow. Lorenzo Styles Jr., who transferred back from Notre Dame after going there aspiring to be a big-time wide receiver, transferred back to Ohio State with the idea of moving to defense. And lo and behold, he also got a chance to do something in the return game last week. And I would say he grabbed that by the horns and rode it to the bell. But the bottom line is just some general comments from Lorenzo Styles Jr. And then, later on we'll have some general comments from his younger but bigger brother, Sonny Styles, the all-star linebacker for the Buckeyes. But let's get to wait a minute. Let's finish up here with Caden Curry.
Really helped you along the way, and how much do you kind of try to return that favor now?
Yeah, I definitely had some great leaders when I was a freshman. I had Jackson Smith, I had CJ Stroud, I had all those guys, Kate Stover, Tommy Eichenberg, Cody Simon. I had a bunch of guys that were just took me under their wing. And kind of just showed me the way that football should be played here at Ohio State, and just the way I should carry myself as a man.
Jackson Smith and Jigba, he's a wide receiver.
I mean,
how did y'all interact? I mean, what did you get from him?
I mean, definitely when you work out with him, you don't even really have to say anything. He was a guy that led by example. You just see the way he worked out and the way he kind of just took account for every little detail and everything he did. Yeah. And it kind of just went a long way for young players like me that were just kind of idolizing him and looking up to him.
What is it like sitting there right now? Y'all the number one team in the country. The College Football Playoff Committee to this point has not had a debate about that too much. Mm-hmm. But what do you feel? What do you feel from a responsibility standpoint, or just of what's coming?
I mean, we definitely got to prepare. We have a target on our back, and we've always had one being here at Ohio State. You know, everybody's going to give you their best game, and they're going to give you everything they got. So we got to prepare like that, and we got to practice like that. So I feel like just kind of going out here every single day and getting better every single day and being prepared for when that time comes.
Do you feel like you're on a special team? Does it feel special?
Always. I mean, being a Buckeye always feels special. I mean, you always are at the most prestigious place, and you're always going against the best competition every single day. So it definitely feels special.
Yeah, it should feel special. Sorry about that mix up with my mixer.
No worries. No worries.
But that's what you're supposed to do with a mixer.
You were building suspense for the Styles.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I'd already talked about how Caden talked about the legacy that he walked into and the legacy you hope to leave behind. And it's just pretty cool. Let's get to some conversation with Lorenzo Styles Jr. too, man. Really sharp cookie. Son of Lorenzo Styles Sr., who was a big-time linebacker at Ohio State in the mid-'90s. They, both he and his brother, Lorenzo Styles Jr. and his brother, have a little bit of that laid-back kind of like business kind of approach to the game and talking to us. But I think their mother added a little bit of a personality. Lorenzo Styles Sr., he was a good guy to talk to, but he didn't go out of his way seeking interviews. Not that these guys do either, but let's just get to some of the conversation with Lorenzo Styles Jr. And it's pretty sweet.
Yeah, I got like 17 people in my family coming, so it's gonna be a good one for me and my brother to be walking together.
So what does it mean to be doing this with your brother?
It means a lot. I would never have thought me and my brother would be walking on the same senior day, but seeing him walk and then just me coming together, like, I know it's just a blessing. Everything's coming together how it's supposed to be.
Lorenzo, when you think about the reasons that you transferred here, things that you wanted from this program, you come here and now you're kind of at the end of it, you're almost at the end of the road with it. Have you checked all those boxes? Was that everything you hoped it would be when you just decided to come home?
Definitely not. It was hard. There was ups and downs, but everything is starting to pay off. We got a lot of more games to play. A lot of more opportunities to go become the player I want to be and the player that I set out to be when I came here.
Coach Shea mentioned on Tuesday. Coach Shea mentioned on Tuesday, you guys haven't been to Indianapolis yet. How big of a motivator is that for this class?
I mean, that's a huge motivator. That's one of our goals at the beginning of the year. That's something we always talk about. And we have some games still in the way for us to get in there. So being able to go play in that environment, it's going to be a lot to this program to win that game.
As I said to Caden, he's human, you're human. How tough is it, Lorenzo, to keep your eye on what's coming Saturday and not what's coming the next Saturday? How difficult is that?
I mean, that's kind of easy to do. If you really, our coaches were just talking about this. If you look at the stats a little bit, looking at the rusher number 3, he has 1,000 yards. Looking at the receivers, he has more than Jeremiah. The quarterback passing yards, he has more than Julian, and we think we have some of the best guys in the country. So this is a real team coming in, and we're taking them serious, and we're prepping up and getting ready to go play. Put out on the line this weekend.
You guys talk a lot about kind of guys not getting bored with the routine, about understanding how important routine is. Why do you think this group has been able to kind of buy into that so much?
That's what we set our foundation on. So going way back to when we were in the summer, we read a book called Chopping Wood, Carrying Water, and it's kind of like that monotonous, every single day. People don't usually fail because of it's not like the bigger things. They kind of burn out. It's how do you get yourself to chop wood and carry water every single day? And I think that team, as a team, we found out how to do that with our routines and how we practice, how we carry ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's an interesting approach that Ryan Day took. I mean, the book thing, he didn't want to reveal it back in the summer, but chopping wood, carrying water has carried them through. I mean, just whatever you can do to kind of put the mind in the right frame of mind of the task at hand. It's not going to be easy. Last year was not easy by any stretch. And a lot of guys who've, like I said, I use that Everest analogy. A lot of guys who've climbed Everest don't want to do it again because it's so hard. Yeah. And then, like I said, the Sherpas go up and down it like it's an escalator. But the bottom line is, you want to be more of that mind frame. Understand what's coming, prepare for what's coming, and then embrace it. Embrace the climb. And so far, this team has done that. And they are so far from the finish line, really. Yep. It's kind of crazy, but they put themselves in position to get there. But let's get some more sound.
Oh, yeah, I knew I was playing defense. So that's like Albany. I transferred here, so I knew I was going to play defense. And special team stuff, I always want to get back there on kickoff return, so I'm happy my coaches gave me the opportunity. Ohio State has this thing where they usually put like offensive guys back there when I've been here so far, so being able to show some love for the future defensive guys, let them all get an opportunity. And Caleb kind of set that up for all of us, so it's been nice.
What was it like watching that on Cool Review?
It was amazing, and my teammates, man, like, if you really go back and watch it, like, it was easy for me. Like, my teammates did a great job blocking. I was untouched. And shout out to really Miles Lockhart. That's one of my dudes, Leroy Roker, and really Joey Velasquez. He held his block for like 15 seconds, which is crazy. But
Is it another one in
you? Definitely. Yeah, that's my mindset. If I touch the ball, I'm trying to take it to the house.
Lorenzo, is there a point in the game where you're like, I don't want to turn around, is there a flag? Or do you ever have that thought? Because usually usually there's flags, like especially on like kickoff return like that, just because everything has to go so perfect. But no, I knew it was a touchdown. It felt like there was no like quiet, like you could tell because it kind of gets quiet or people like don't really like, you just know there's a flag. You could just feel like as a receiver you have a big play. I felt that before when you know there's a flag. So yeah, I knew. You can tell when there's a flag.
What is it like to have that, no matter what happens from here, to have that memory, that kind of play in your repertoire?
It feels,
you know what I mean, to have done something special.
Yeah, it feels great. It feels great to do that for the program, but then also like for my family and like what that means for my family. Just being able to like the connections I made in Columbus. I think that's going to help me later down the line and be able to create something bigger than football that's for my family. We had to do another dude from Pickering, like the Bourne brothers. He had like that one big hit. And I just know later down the line I want to do something future in business, and I think that will always be a key play people remember, so using that down the line. Yeah, it's been great. As I was saying, we have 17 people coming for the Rutgers game. So being able to celebrate with my family, my mom, she was almost crying for real. So that was kind of cool to see. My girlfriend was here. My dad, he was just a proud dad, had a cigar after the game. So yeah, it means a lot to do that for my family and then my teammates. But really, I'm kind of past that play right now. I want to do it again, and then I really want to go out here as a team and go dominate.
Yeah, go out as a team and dominate. That's the best way to have a final senior day. Hey, let's hear a few comments from his brother, younger, bigger brother, Sonny Styles, the linebacker, and just because, like you said, it's a big day for all these final time run out players at the Ohio Stadium. So let's see what he has to say.
I think we've been in some hard moments. I think at times we might make it look easy because I think we're doing what we're supposed to do. So we say every game is about us. So that's what it is. I mean, it's not based on how talented their team is. It's how well do we execute. How well we how hard are we playing? How physical are we playing?
He's responding, by the way, to people talking about the schedule. Well, the schedule's the schedule. Nobody knew certain teams weren't going to be up to snuff, like Penn State, like Washington, Illinois. They handled business at Illinois, and that was supposed to be their possible pothole game, whatever you want to say. But yeah, let's get back to some of Sonny Styles' thoughts here.
Stuff like that. Obviously we know we're going to play better teams as long as the season goes. So you just got to understand that. Just make sure you're staying on top of your stuff and staying diligent with what you're doing. I think Coach Tate does a great job with that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I think it's cool the way Jack Sawyer became immortal, with that play.
Yeah.
And the same way Lowe Jr. might be, He
has that memory, man, no matter what.
Exactly.
100-yard kickoff return is as far as you can go in college football rules, even though he caught it in the end zone.
Yep.
But now he's in the record book at Ohio State, like you pointed out.
Yeah, it's quite a moment, and maybe more to come. And the way Columbus embraces this large university that has this behemoth of a football program, And that's why so many stay and come back and live here. And yeah,
absolutely,
it can pay off for you.
And for Ohio State fans, this will be their last chance probably to see the Buckeyes play in Ohio Stadium this year if things go according to Hoyle or according to Hall. And that's Clay Hall, ladies and gentlemen, one of Jim Tressel's favorite people. But we appreciate Coach Tressel joining us as he was getting ready, kind of be practicing ringing the bell. You always tell these guys, let go. Let go. You don't want to be embarrassed by having it pull you 4 feet off the ground. Right. But the bottom line is Saturday promises to be interesting no matter what, who plays. That's the big question right now. It's like who's who plays. And, of course, all it does is set the stage for 8 days from now as we record this, the chance to stop that 4-game losing streak to the team up north, a.k.a. Michigan. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Tim May. That's Clay Hall. I think I'm saying this right. We both enjoy doing this, don't we?
We'll see you at the shoe.
Absolutely.